Hi, everyone. My name is Evgeny Shvarov, and I'm super excited to introduce a kickoff webinar for the first ever Python programming contest for InterSystems developers community. And developers, you're very welcome to build your innovative solutions in the next 2-3 weeks using Python and InterSystems data platform. I'm super excited, and you? And now I'm giving the floor to Bob Kuszewski, who is a product manager of everything about Python and InterSystems, and to really introduce it. Please, Bob.
All right. Thank you, Evgeny. Appreciate that. Let me see if I can share. I have slides. Don't worry, there's not too many of them. Hopefully you can see that. Let me try to hide all of you. So, all right. Today's contest is all about using InterSystems IRIS with Python. And you can do that however you want. So it starts really with this picture. I wanted to just introduce to you the many ways that you can use Python with IRIS. So here on this picture on the left-hand side, you see our client libraries. We have PyODBC, JODBC, PyJDBC. These are things that wrap our existing PyODBC or JDBC driver and allow you to use IRIS in relational ways. And that's worked for many years. In 2020, we introduced the IRIS native API in Python. That allows you to direct access to globals. It also allows you to instantiate IRIS classes and kind of remotely manipulate them from your Python client. We also have a DB API driver, which is a Python standard for data access. That DB API driver is coming out. We have a preview of the 2022.1 release of IRIS coming out hopefully later this week, certainly in the next week or so. And that DB API driver, the first implementation of it will be available in that release. Over on the right-hand side, you also see the Python gateway. This works just like our Java and .NET gateways in that it allows you to instantiate Python code from the IRIS server, but it's still running out of process. And the Python library, the Python code can interact with IRIS using essentially the same API as the native API, but in this case, kind of instantiated and managed from the IRIS server. Obviously, the big new item in this picture is embedded Python, which we just released officially with the 21.2 IRIS 2021.2 release that just went to general availability in the last couple of weeks. Embedded Python allows you to run code natively inside the IRIS server process, and it gives developers kind of unprecedented access to the database. So I know this is still new to many of you, so I figured put together a little bit more information on embedded Python, just so you know. But our other pieces are just as good for this contest, and they're awesome as well. So we added embedded Python as a complement to ObjectScript, in part because the ecosystem for Python is just awesome, right? There's a huge number of pre-built libraries that are already available out there. You can also hire people who already know Python, where that's a lot harder with ObjectScript. You know, it is the world's #1 most popular language on many surveys. Pretty much every survey, it has it in the top 3. So there you go. Python, the way embedded Python works is that it's it's a full peer to ObjectScript. That is, it's running inside the server, just like ObjectScript does. You can write your SQL stored procedures, your triggers, your functions in either ObjectScript or Python. Same with your class methods. So you still describe your classes in IRIS as using the IRIS class language. But each method you can choose, oh, this method I want to write in ObjectScript, and another method I want to write in Python. And they just work seamlessly together. From your Python code, you could instantiate an ObjectScript object and work with it as if it was a Python object, and vice versa. So from ObjectScript, you could load up a Python library or a Python method and return a Python object that you just use methods on it and interact with it just like it was an ObjectScript method. And that's, I think, what makes it really, really cool. All right. And this slide really just kind of covers quite a lot of what I just said about that. But that's really all I wanted to cover today was give you a quick overview of what are our Python options that are available for the programming contest, and give you some ideas about, hey, where does embedded Python fit into the picture? Embedded Python is very new. All of this is very new, so we're not expecting everything is going to work smooth as silk. Part of why we're running this contest is we want your feedback on, hey, what's going well and what's not working well. Yeah, I think that just about covers it. Talked about the client libraries. Oh, that's what I wanted to cover. On DB API, when that becomes available, DB API is the lower level for a number of other client libraries, be they SQL Alchemy, be they Django ORM, very popular libraries that many tools build on top of. So if you wanted to build an implementation of SQL Alchemy or Django ORM on top of that, that uses that would be a great contestant for the contest, or get entry. That's the word I'm looking for the contest. All right, that's all I have. Evgeny, over to you, or Guillaume, over to you.
Yeah, Bob, thank you very much for the overview. And to all who are with us online, please go ahead with your questions at any time or in the chat. We will cover this. And now I will give a floor to Guillaume Rongier to actually show how it works, and show the things you can do with all these exciting Python add-ons and Python API with InterSystems. Please, Guillaume.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Evgeny. Thank you, Bob. I will be short on PowerPoints because most of the talk has been done by Bob, but I just would like to show you pictures because I guess pictures speak more than words. And you have to remember this picture and these tools. In fact, embedded Python, the runtime is inside the database. And with native API and gateway and native API, the Python code work outside of the database. So 2 more slides. Native API, you work outside and you communicate through gateways or native API. Native API is for Python code to interact with IRIS, and gateway is IRIS interacting with Python. Now, with embedded Python, you work directly Python in the database with ObjectScript through tags or just with the Python interpreter in IRIS. Now, let's go to demos. Don't care about slides. So I would like to show you 2 templates. The first one is this one. This one, it's an IRIS Python template. And in this one, you do have multiple examples. So the first one I would like to show you is when you run it, you download git clone, Docker Compose up, and after you can go to this web page. In fact, this web page, it's a Jupyter notebook. And in this Jupyter notebook, you do have, we don't see them here, but we will see them inside, 3 kernels. You have one kernel for Python, native Python, vanilla Python, another kernel for IRIS Python, which means embedded Python, and a third kernel with an ObjectScript kernel. So let's see them. Here is. You have 3 kernels. The first example, the first notebook, it's Hello World with embedded Python. If you go there, on this one, you are working with the embedded kernel, embedded Python kernel, and you can run code, native Python code, and also import IRIS. IRIS is the main module to work with embedded Python. And this class, it's an ObjectScript class. And if you replace % with underscore, you have access to all the methods from ObjectScript code. You can run it. Here you go. If you don't believe me, second one. Here it is. It's not the same. Ah, yes. Okay. Simple to play with, really efficient. It's on notebooks. The second notebooks is native API. So to show you the difference, you are not importing IRIS, you are importing IRIS native. You have to make a connection to IRIS to work with native API. That's why I have to create a connection. Here it's in localhost to the super server, to the namespace, login, password, shared memory if we want, and so on. And after you have a new object, and this object, you have helper method to fetch classes or to get some information from those classes. So it's another way to work with Python, but you are not running your code inside the database. You make a connection, and after you can fetch and work with objects. Okay, and also you can work with globals. So I can set the globals and get my globals. Yeah, here it is. Furthermore, in this notebook, you have many examples how to work with Python. So you have in the source directory, you do have the notebooks, of course, ObjectScript code to work with embedded Python, with the tag language. You have some example with gateways, how to work with external Python codes in IRIS, the kernels, and other stuff. Now in Python, you do have also example with native API, with gateways. That's an object to use with the gateways, and also a Flask example. And that's a Flask example who works with embedded Python. So you don't need to build REST APIs with a % REST and so on. You can use Flask, and that's an example, and it's working. How it works, in fact, when I launch the container, I start a script shell. This script here start up, this one, unicorn, it start Flask. And now you can work with Flask. It's bind on 8080 and 8080, it's on 4040. And if I go there it is 4040. And I'm working directly with IRIS embedded Python through Flask APIs, Flask micro framework. As you can see, there is no ObjectScript code, nothing in this one. no ObjectScript code, pure Python code. Okay, that's the first example. It's a template to work with Python and IRIS through native API and embedded Python. What I like, one of the things I like the most in InterSystems is the interoperability framework. So if you're not familiar with the interoperability framework, that's the one. I like it because it helps you to build huge projects and organize your project through services, process where you put your business logic, and here where you build your low-level code, like, I don't know, how to make a CRUD, or to connect to another server and so on. And you do have traces. That's you can debug what's going on, what went well, what went wrong, and so on. I love this framework. And I would like this framework to work with no ObjectScript code, but only in Python. Because if you work with a production with the interoperability framework only in Python, in fact, you bring a framework how to work with Python. So that's my second example. My second example is this one. So interoperability embedded Python. This one helps you to build pure Python code with embedded Python in IRIS with the interoperability framework. That's how I build a business operation. We will build one together, just for the example. But first of all, if we want to play with embedded Python in a with a good user experience, you have to do one thing first. So you run the container, Docker Compose build, Docker Compose up, and after you have to bind your Visual Studio Code to the container. Why you have to do so? Because embedded Python is working on the database, so you have to hook on the container to have access to the pylons and so on to have autocompletes. So what I did here, I do have, yeah, that's the one. That's my Git repository on my local computer. I do Remote Explorer, this one. So in fact, it's like you go there, you go here, up, attach in Visual Studio Code. So I did it, and here it is. That's my Visual Studio Code in my container. Now I have that, I have access to many things. First one, it's I can create a new file, say test operation.py.cls. Well, and now I can import IRIS. And I can import the interoperability framework for IRIS. Define a new class, test operation, and it will extend the interoperability framework. And it will be a business operation. Here it is. Now I can define my own message. Here it is. So what I can do now, I can process this message and I will instantiate this class in the interoperative framework. So I will create a random response. So iris.cls, it will be an string response. I built this new object. Here it is. Now I have to register this operation to the interoperability framework. So you can go to the README. In the README, you do have a Python function to do so. So here is Python import iris. So to register a new component, what is my module name? My module name is the module name is the file of the Python object, but it's not really that, but operation. What's my class name? Test operation 2. What's my the path of the file? It's this one. Do I want to overwrite existing projection? Yes, I do. And what will be the name of this component in my production? It will be something like demo.test. Okay. And no module name, test operation. Test operation. Oh. It's not. Okay, so my module name is not this one. What's wrong?
Last name.
I don't know why I can't rename this one. Unable to move copy. Oh, it's already exists in the destination. Okay, let's name it. Okay, that's the one. Okay, it will have the same name. Okay. Oh. You can't find it. Okay. Demo time. Sorry, guys.
You have typed a test with double T.
Yeah, I will create another one. So
Okay.
operation.py. Okay. Import. It will be operation. Okay, sounds good. No double T, nothing. Operation. Here it is. Sorry, guys. Okay, here it is. And now I should have in my production demo test operation. Here it is. So I will start it, test it, send any message, and here it is. Hello from Python.
Amazing.
So let's go one step further. I would like to create a pure response a pure message in Python. And I would like to test what kind of message I get in the request. So if request that is a request. So if it's an unstring request, what I will do, I will create a new Python object, which is a response. Import my response. Here it is. So my response, it's a Python object with one string value with response string. So, okay. If it's so, I will do response, which will be equal to my response dot my response with, as it's a string request, I will have a value. So string value. And if not, else, I would create this same object. So what code do we have here? In fact, if on message, I will have a string request, I will pass this string request to my response, which my response will have a response string string. And if not, I will build an unstring response, which is an IRIS object. Why I do so? Because that's not an IRIS object. That's a Python object. So now I have a new code. I have to instantiate it again in the production. Just restart it, test it. If it's an unstring request, I should have the same response. Is not a property of it's maybe.
I must be capital.
A must be capital. Yeah, it's capital. I guess it's just underscore because it's percent. Percent is a. Yeah, it was percent is a.
Right.
So, and now, if I do unstring request and I put any value, I do have a new response. And this response, it's a JSON.
Wow.
And I have response string with my value. I passed it before. So response string, which is here. And it's not showing as an XML. It's just fancy. It's nothing, just projections, whatever. So here it is. As you can see, I never touch a line of ObjectScript. It's just per Python everywhere. I can change this object, whatever. So, you see my point? Do you have any question?
Yeah, questions are very welcome. Thank you, Guillaume, for this impressive demo. And even with debugging, which is a necessary component of every development process. So great. Do we have any questions? So your colleagues, you're very welcome to ask questions out loud or in the chat.
First question I see, is it possible to use Pipe 3 with IRIS? Yeah, it is. So to do so, let me share my screen again. The best way I found is you have to go to the Docker file here. you will see in this, maybe, yeah, here it is. So if you want to use pipe 3, use it this way. So you go iris Python, module, pipe, install, and whatever you want. So let's try it. Let's use a regex or up. I close everything. So
Well, it's loading.
of course.
Maybe the similar question: how if you want to use package manager and you don't have it in an image? So I saw a line like that in your environment.
So you have, if you want to use Python, you have to be in this folder. And now you can go this way and regex. So now if I go to iris Python, import regex, there it is, it's working. And now I can import here regex. And you can work with it and do whatever you want.
Great. Guillaume, could you show also the similar line for package manager, for InterSystems package manager, ObjectScript?
Yeah, sure. But for package manager, it's only for ObjectScript. I don't know how it will work for Python.
No, I just noticed in your environment the line to install package manager, ObjectScript package manager if you don't have it.
Yeah, that's from Sergey, I guess. It's one line. Maybe not in this one.
Maybe not in this one. Okay, anyway, so it
maybe in this one. Docker file. No.
Anyway, so nobody asked it besides me, but I know this how to do that. So we published it on a developer community forum.
PEX is using Python is official in the current version. PEX polyglot. That's my demo about interoperability embedded Python. It's an hack of PEX because PEX is using native API and gateways. And in fact, when you are using native API and gateways, you have to use getters and setters and so on. So for me, I don't like it. It's not very handy. So that's why I prefer to use embedded Python. So let's have a look how it works with native API, gateway, and so on. So native API demo here. You see, if you want to invoke a class method, you have to pass an argument, Titanic table passenger, % OpenID, and so on. But if you work with embedded Python, it's way easier. It's the same. If you want to, I don't know, to have just an to get a property from a persistent class, you have to use a getter with native API. But with embedded Python, you just go dot and your property. So that's why I build a hack of PEX.
And will you share this like Guillaume Rongier PEX module?
Yeah, of course. It's here. You have everything. Yeah. You have everything here. So there is an ObjectScript part. You will find it here. And also you will have here all the code. And all this code, there is a setup to build a wheel, and here is the wheel.
And wheel is available. Okay, perfect.
So if you want to import this wheel to your Python environment, here it is. Here is the command line, this one.
Just a disclaimer that this wheel is not InterSystems and is not supported, but you are very welcome to use it in the Python contest.
Yeah, loginfo, it's a macro. In fact, loginfo, it's built in those classes. So it's not like a macro, it's a function in yeah, you can use loginfo. I don't remember where you can use it, but you can use it. And you have many examples here. Yeah, all of that in demos, it's example. In distribution, it's the distribution of the hack of PEX embedded Python.
Also, we have a question from Yuri that it's not possible to import any Python lib. So is it a restricted Python subset?
What I guess you are on 19 to 95% with pipe, 100%. If you use Anaconda or stuff like that, maybe it will be more difficult, but it should work. It should work.
Yuri, what exactly model doesn't work for you? Can you share with us? I mean, just the name of this model, and we will check in real time. While we are looking for this, let me share the set of Python-specific bonuses we will have. I share it in the chat, and we'll announce it. We will have 4 special bonuses that besides the usual bonus sets in this contest. So 4 Python-specific bonuses. First is embedded Python usage. So if you use it in your application, you can collect 4 points to your app, to your application. Then use Python native API, get 3 more. Next is Python PEX. If you use Python PEX, so like this interoperability segment with the application using Python PEX, and you can collect extra 3 points. And the one is interesting one. So it's if we don't see no ObjectScript line in your application, you collect 5 more points. So this is the challenge, really. And here's a disclaimer. You may ask, okay, but I will need to create for the usage of embedded Python, I will need to create a class in IRIS. And yes, you can create classes, but all the methods should be should have language Python. All the methods should be embedded Python specific. No ObjectScript methods. Properties and everything are allowed. Any questions to that? Also, Yuri, maybe you want to share your library. Any questions, concerns, ideas? What we missed, like from the point of bonuses, which we can still add. So it will be announced today or tomorrow about the bonus set.
Just a word to Guillaume. I have seen this package on OX, and I really can recommend it. It's excellent. I was a little bit scary in the beginning with the long description, but it's incredible. It's really incredible if you go in and see your production. Well, of course, the keywords, the format language is not Python, but anything in is just Python. And I found this really great. I was really deeply impressed, but you had a great presentation also in your other package, your starter package. it was a great thing. And I really can recommend it if you have not done anything before with it. Go in there, try it, see it, and believe it.
Thank you, Robert. Yeah, I try to do as much documentation as I can. So, but if you have any question, really, I look forward to people to not use ObjectScript. I know it's hard what I'm saying, but why? I guess if we want to bring more and more people, we have to be fluent in Python and do not have wrappers. So that's why I show you two demonstrations. One, how to use interoperability framework with no line of ObjectScript, and how to use REST API with no line of ObjectScript. And I'm looking forward to you guys to try it out, to try to do the same, to give us feedback. Is the user experience is good? Is good enough?
Yeah, Guillaume, I'm with you. But before reaching this end situation, there is something in between. And yeah, this is the part that I will cover with my example. This mix of embedded Python and ObjectScript, just where it fits best, to have the minimum effort. But yeah, it's not published yet. The contest hasn't started yet. So you have to wait there until tomorrow morning.
Here it is. This one worked very, very well. So that's worked very well. So use it, both. But I'm looking forward with no ObjectScript just to see. It's a challenge. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is why we call it contest.
Yeah, that's what we call it, a contest. Definitely.
Okay. Another question in the chat, and again from Yuri. Thank you so much. So Guillaume,
of course. Yeah, of course. You can debug embedded Python with almost no troubles. So
maybe
I haven't prepared it, but I can try to do a demo. Do I have it? So if you want to debug embedded Python, you have to be in the container. You can debug embedded Python outside of the container. So let me plug again in the container. So here it is. Okay, let's write a new file. Test debug.py. So IRIS. Let's define a function, a static function or whatever. No function. We don't need to build a function. So let's debug it. Test equal IRIS. Let's just say first hello, print hello, and after that we will make an string, whatever, and it will be an IRIS object. This one. String request, whatever. Instantly. And print I. Okay, so let's try to debug this one. So current file up here. There it is. You can debug it. Yeah, you have it. Easy.
Nice.
Hello, bye.
Guillaume, can you demo the same but embedded Python in IRIS class? I mean, so in when you introduce a class method that embedded
in
Python.
IRIS class. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So like this one, if we can debug in this one. Okay. I don't know. Let's try. Let's try.
You can click, by the way, on this debug this method.
Yeah.
Maybe this will work. You can enter, for example. Okay.
No, it doesn't seem to work very well. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't tried. We should ask Raj and Bob. Maybe they know about that.
Okay, I haven't tried yet this too, but it's a good question. Nevertheless, you are very welcome and can debug it in pure like in Python files using embedded Python. Any more questions? So I think there are no questions. This was a great demo. Thank you, Guillaume. Also, thank you, Bob. And we are super excited. You will have 2 weeks of introducing your applications with different sides of Python. You will try to use no ObjectScript at all. And in the 3rd week, we will be so happy to see and examine what you did. And so looking forward. There will be an exciting month. And for now, have a great week. Thank you. Yeah, this is the recorded session and will be and can be reviewed on a developers community YouTube channel. See you on the developer community.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you.